Hello, welcome back to my channel, lovely friends. Hope you're doing okay. Samantha back here with a little bit of a different video actually today. I thought that we would have a look at making some handmade pouches to gift our jewellery in. You know, we spend so much time, don't we, making beautiful pieces, and I don't know about you, but I really like to gift jewellery. I think it's a really sweet way of showing someone that you love them. So come up with this little cute pouch, super easy to make. Now I know you guys are generally always here for jewellery making, but my channel is a little bit more about sort of crafting for mental health, and I think that you probably would appreciate at least just having a look to see if you can come up with something like this. I'm not much of a sewer. I've been learning how to sew recently, so you don't need a huge amount of expertise to make these little cuties. Little drawstring bag, which you can use to gift beautiful pieces of jewellery that you've made. You know, just pop it in a pouch and then gift it to your loved one. So, you know, you can use all sorts of little scrappy pieces of material like so, you know, just something lined. And aren't they pretty? Super easy to make actually, guys. So I hope you enjoy this little bit of a departure from our usual jewellery making. If you don't like it, that's fine. You know, you don't have to watch. But for those of you who would like to learn how to make one of these, we'll get going and I'll show you what you need to do and also the materials that you need. All right, so I'll see you in a few with the materials list. Right, so we're back. So hopefully you'll enjoy this little bit of a different type of video. I'm on my cutting board, so hopefully you'll be able to see everything okay. Right, so how cute are these? Let's have a look at how we make these. I won't make it a hugely long video because I know that would be really boring. So I'll skip through, I'll skip through all the sewing parts. So here we go. Cute. Yes, so let's have a look. What you're going to need is, if you've got scraps of material, or you can go to the charity shop, Goodwill stores, get scraps, that kind of thing. Don't spend a fortune because you only need a little bit for each of your little bags. Okay, so you're going to need 2 each of this size. Now this size is 4.5 inches long by 3.5 inches tall. All right, so you need 2 of that size and exactly the same size in a different colour, or white, or indeed the same colour. You don't have to have it contrasting. And for the little tab here at the top, you're going to need, let's have a look, that's 2.5 inches tall by 4 inches wide. So you need 2 of those. So when I am editing, I will put the measurements on the pieces here. So I'll just leave that there for a second. Let's just get these into frame, and then I'll put all of the measurements on. Okay, and the only other thing that you're going to need is some cord. So this is literally just macrame cord. I got a huge set for other things. I think I got like 20 for about £15, something like that. So a nice coordinating cord. I think this is 3mm. All right, or you can use ribbon or whatever you like. Okay, so let's go for it. So what we need to do is, first thing we need to do is to create our tabs. All right, so you can what they call finger press this. So literally 1/4 inch on either side, like so, just so it's nice and neat. So you can either use your little iron, I have a little iron, or you can just, like what they say, finger press, which is, if you don't have all the equipment for sewing, just press it with your fingers. And then just fold that over and squish it with your fingers. Use your little iron, do whatever. Okay, so that we have this. Now what I do at this point is I bring in my little what are these called? Pins, honestly, what are they called? And just hold them down like so. All right, so you want to do 2 of those like so. Turn it around. Folding this side in just makes it look neater, like so. And just bend that over in half, and again, there we go. And then just pop a pin in there just to keep it together, like so. All right, so that's the first bit. I'll get these other pieces of material out of the way because we don't need that just now. Now, hand sewing to me is a really lovely practice. I think it's nice and mindful, and you know what, if you're gifting something that you've spent ages and ages making, what a lovely thing to gift something inside a bag that you've made as well. So what we want to do is get some cotton. Now I use these, I have a massive tin full of these because I used to do cross stitch millions of years ago until my eyes started playing up on me a little bit. So I use literally embroidery silks to do my sewing, or you can use a really nice good quality cotton that you can get from craft stores, that kind of thing. But I'm just using 1 strand of embroidery cotton, so you just a nice cotton essentially, as long as it sort of goes with the materials that you're using, you know, that it's not going to be, you know, super obtrusive, and you know, you'll be able to see it. Right, so just get a decent needle, thread your needle like so, and we want to put a little knot in the end. So this is what they call a quilter's knot, but just tie a knot in the end like so, just so you have a little knot. All right, so let's do the next part. Just pop that in there for now. So what we need to do is we need to be sewing across here as it's the top of the tab, so we want to sew across there on both of these pieces. So what I suggest you do is about 3/8 of an inch, something like that, centimetre, 3/8 of an inch, along that kind of line. Yeah, so I'm going to be using my ruler here, and we want to be just not drawing a line because this is the outside. We want to be using the side of a blunt knife or something like that. I have one of these little guys here, but use the side of a knife, I would suggest. You know what, a butter knife or something with a really blunt blade. Just create a crease. So like I say, that's probably about 1 centimetre, 3/8 of an inch. All right, I'm just going to pop that back. Super, super easy, even if you're not a sewer, because like I say, I'm not very much of a sewer. I am just learning. Right, so what you need to do is come up inside and pop your needle where the line is, like so that it's inside. And then we want to come up here a couple of times just to secure the edge, because we don't want this falling to pieces, like so. And we're going to be doing back stitch along this line. So pop your needle up, like so, and then down on the line, like so, and then up, and then down in the spot where the last stitch ends. And you just continue going along your line, popping it up. I would suggest that these little stitches need to be about I don't know, 3-4 millimeters, if you can see. And then when you come up on the line, keeping it as straight as you can, as neat as you can, and then back through where the last stitch ended. So just keep going along like so. Doesn't matter if it's one stitch is slightly longer than the other, you know, the whole point of these is that they are absolutely handmade. I think, you know, obviously you can use your sewing machine to do this, but I think making these is really mindful, and it means that the gift that you're giving is completely and utterly handmade. Totally handmade, including the little gift bag. So you see I've gone a bit wonky there, but it doesn't matter. Just keep going along, and I will come back in a second and we'll finish this off. Okay, so as you can see here, I have done back stitch all along and all along, and all we need to do now is just to finish this off. So I come up about here, do your last back stitch, and then pop it up where the last stitch finishes, and then back up from underneath. All right, just do that a couple of times so that this is nice and secure and nice and neat. And one more time, like so. And then all you need to do is tie that off by going under the bridge, like there, like so, and then through and tie a knot, and that's it. And then just come in with your scissors and just snip that, like so. All right, so that's your first one done. So you need 2 of these. So go ahead and make the next one, and then we'll meet back when these are both sewn across, okay? Right guys, we're back. Hopefully now you've got 2 of these lovely little tabs that you've hand sewn across. You can use fabric markers that, you know, disappear with heat or just fade away in time. You can do that if you like, but I use one of these little hair markers, or like I say, you can just use the edge of a blunt knife just to make your line across, because this you're going to see. All right, so this part is this part here. All right, so you're going to see, so obviously don't mark it with something that you can't take off. So set these 2 little pieces aside. Come in now with your other 2 pieces of material. All right, so you're going to have an outside and an inside, and what you do with these is you make both of these in exactly the same way. All right, so you want 2 of exactly the same thing. So I'll just show you the one and then replicate it twice. So take your material. Now, whichever material you want on the outside, I think we'll use this on the outside, and this will be the lining. All right, so take this piece here, and lengthways you want to bend it right sides together, so that's the coloured material sides together, and just give it a bit of a press here just to make a little mark, or give it a little gentle iron, it's up to you. So you just want to mark the centre like so. So you come in with your little tab that you've made, and again, right sides together. You'll see the difference in the back. That's the back side, and that's the front side. So the front side is the bit where you can see the defined stitches, and the back side is where you'll see the stitches running into each other. All right, so fold that in half lengthways, and again, give it a bit of a press with your fingers to mark the centre. Turn it upside down and place it along here so that the sewn section is facing towards you and the raw edge is facing away from you, in line with the top edge of this material. All right, hopefully you can see that. You then bring in your lining material. All right, you want to flip that over so that the right sides are together, like so. And line them up as best you can so that everything's nice and square. Yep, and then you can either use these little clips, which I think are a bit heavy for the smaller pieces of material. So I just use a little pin. And right at the top, pop your pins in, making sure everything's nice and square. And that all of these are aligned at the top, like so. Like so. Doesn't matter if it's a little bit off there, just as long as everything is pretty well in line with each other. All right, and then just check at the back, just make sure everything's lined up, which it is. And again, we want to be sewing across this top edge with a 3/8 of an inch or about 1 centimetre. But you can use a marker pen this time or a pencil, because this isn't going to show. It's just this one that you've got to be careful of. So line it up and draw a line, like I say, about 3/8 of an inch, about 1 centimetre, and then just literally draw a line at the top, like so. I mean, this does fade over time, this pen that I'm using. But, you know, if you've not got a lot of sewing supplies, which you probably won't have, you know, just use a pencil or a pen indeed, as long as it's not really like an inky pen. All right, so what we want to do now is to sew along here in a back stitch again. All right, so bring in your coordinating cotton. And again, we want to do the same as we did with the other, pop your needle through and then secure this with a couple of stitches, like so, in the same spot, just so everything's nice and secure, like so. So that's that secured. And then we want to sew up here in our back stitch again. So up along the line and down through the hole where the last stitch ended. So all across the line as neatly as you can. I absolutely love making these. They're so sweet, and I love anything handmade, don't you? And like I said, I think if you are spending so much time making a beautiful piece of jewellery for someone, what a lovely thing to make a handmade gift pouch to put it in. So I posited this question to my lovely Facebook group members and asked, you know, if this was a good idea to include this on my channel, because I was a bit worried about doing that, even though when I started my channel it was going to be primarily about all sorts of crafts, you know, crafting for mental health, crafting to keep yourself going, those kind of things, but it's kind of morphed into a more of a jewellery channel. So when I asked them the question, the overriding answer was yes, put it on your channel, Sam, and those people who don't want to, you know, to make one, then they can just not watch it, or at least watch it, you know, just with interest, but not make one if you don't want to. So as you can see here, I am literally back stitching, come up about 3 or 4 millimeters, and then back down through the material like so. All right, so I'll pause here and we'll come back when we get towards the end. Just take your little pins out as you're going. The pins just help to keep everything in place. All right, so I'll see you in a few when we've gotten towards the end. And we're back, and unfortunately I've had to shut the sun out, which is a real shame. I've just got a little shard of it here, so hopefully that isn't too too much of a problem. So we're going to just finish off this little section here. So again, up through the back, along the line that you've made, and then down like so, up through the back, and then down where the last stitch ends. And then here we finish it off with a couple of over stitches, just so the edges are secure. So like so, and then back up in the same place, and then back up for a third time and create a knot like so. Really, really simple. So as you can see, I'll just show you, hopefully, that we've done a lovely line of back stitches, and you've done that twice. Okay, so you should have 2 panels. So when we open them up, like so, we've got the little section here in the middle of your lining and your outer fabric. So you can decide at this point which side you'd like to have. So again, I'm having this as my outer and this is my inner fabric. So I would come along now and I would iron these flat like so, which I'm going to do just now, so bear with me. So once you've decided on your front and your outside and inside fabric, just come along and just use your household iron and just give this a little bit of a press like so, just to get those little creases out that we've made, just to make sure that everything is nice and flat. I have a little quilter's iron because I'm learning how to quilt. So, you know, whatever you've got. So we want to set this seam and press this seam open like so, just to make sure that everything's nice and flat and happy, which this is. Got a little lining surface here. Really, really good, these little lining mats actually for this kind of thing. I'm sure you guys who do a little bit of quilting and sewing, you'll have all of this. So let's just get that out of the way, like so. It's not in the way. Here we are. So we've got our 2 panels. Don't worry about all these little stragglers. Hopefully you can still see what I'm doing because I've had to close the light out. So I will probably have to brighten that up in my editing. Editing is the longest part of doing these videos actually, because creating the videos themselves is actually quite fun. It's the editing that takes the time to make sure that you can see everything that we're doing. So, you know, anyway, so here we have our 2 panels. So what we want to do is now to pop one panel over the top of the other one, making sure that your outer fabric is the same on the same side, and that your lining fabric is on the same side, and that your little tabs that you've attached are next to each other. All right, so all we want to do now is sew these together. So we find the seams. You see how those 2 seams are together like so. Make sure that everything's nice and straight and that the seams are together. It's these central seams that we're most interested in. So I put a pin through here just to secure those, and then turn it round and do the same thing on the other side. Doesn't matter if you've got a slight touch of extra fabric on either side, as long as these little seams in the middle are together, you're good to go. All right, so just check everything's nice and straight, nice and happy, and everything is fine there. All right, so One thing to remember at this stage is we need to be leaving a little bit, because we're going to be sewing around here, but we need to leave a little gap, because what we have to do is we have to pull the thing inside out. Okay, so I'll just make sure that that is happy there. All right, and we're going to do exactly the same thing with about 1 centimetre, 3/8 of an inch all the way round, but you have to leave about a 5 centimetre gap here. All right, so what I'm going to do, and again you can mark this side because it's inside and you won't see. So it's about 11, let's have a look, in inches. 4.5 inches, so 2 1/4 inches. You want to come on with your pencil, just mark the centre, and then what we want to do is leave about 2 inches gap. So mark 2 inches, like so. We're not going to sew in between those 2 marks there. All right, what we want to do is take our ruler, again about 1 centimetre, 3/8 of an inch. I want to draw some lines on which to sew, like that. All right, but don't, obviously, like I say, you need to leave a little bit of a gap here. And then we come around and we do the same thing. So about 3/8 of an inch, make your marks. Make your mark across the centre and then across. Doesn't have to be exactly exact, obviously, because we're not making perfection here. We're making a handmade object, so don't worry too much. Keep it as neat as you can though, just because. And then again across here. Again, about 3/8 of an inch, approximately 1 centimetre, something like that. I know that in sewing we still tend to use inches in the UK. It's very odd. We are an odd race of people. We tend to use miles rather than kilometres, but we still use centimetres instead of inches these days. It's very strange. Anyway, so what we're going to do now is to sew back stitch all the way around, but leave this gap. All right, so I'll come in with my, keeping everything nice, and I mean you can put more pins here if you want to. So I come up on the line, and again mindfully just keep going around, but I would do a couple of back stitches here because you're going to be turning things inside out and you don't want to split your stitches. So just do a couple of stitches there just to keep things nice and tight and secure. And again, along the line, you can hold it in your hand. Nice little project actually to take away with you if you're going on a holiday, vacations, that kind of thing. And you can do it in the car or in, I don't know, a coffee shop whilst you're listening to a podcast or watching the TV, or listening to the TV, obviously. So again, on the little line that you've created, up through the back on the line, and then pop your needle down through the hole where the last stitch ends. Okay, and as you come to the corner, if you have to you know, make shorter stitches, that's also fine. Just keep going along, and then up at the corner like so, and then down where the last stitch ends, and then you just come up here and then back into the corner. So essentially you're doing the back stitch all the way along up and then down. Keep your stitches nice and neat and taut, obviously. And if they're getting a little bit bunched up, just stretch your material a little. So up and down. And whilst you're doing this, obviously, have a good think about how beautiful life is and how lucky we are to be here, which is what I try and do. Every time I'm making something, I try and do it mindfully. Just relaxes the brain, relaxes the sort of freneticism of life, because I know we all have busy lives. And the world is a very strange place these days, isn't it? So I find that doing something like this keeps me grounded, keeps me centered. And whilst I'm here listening to my beautiful little doggy snoring, just a nice way to pass an hour or so. Okay, so what we want to do is to continue all of this all the way around until we get to here. Make sure to leave this gap, and I'll meet you back when we get to this point here. Okay, so I'll see you in a little while. Righty ho gang, we are back and we have come to the end of our sewing around. So hopefully this is where you are. And let's just put a couple of little back stitches in this part here. Just do it a couple of times just to secure and make sure that this section here is nice and secure. All right, so just finish off, just hook your needle through a little bit of the material and just make a knot. All right, so this is what we have. Just chop that off. Don't get rid of that because you're going to need it in a little while to sew up a little hole. Right, so this is what we have. We have what looks like a complete lot of nonsense. Don't worry about these little bits of material. Just snip those off if you have any of those. So doesn't it look a bit scrappy? However, bear with it. So what we want to do is just snip off the corners. So take your scissors, but making sure not to go through any of your stitches because that would just completely ruin everything that you've just done. Just snip off the corners. Just have a look at the back. Make sure that you don't go through your stitches. Like so. And again, just snip off the corners. That just makes it a little bit nicer when we're coming to the next part. All right, so this is what we have. So all you need to do in the section that you've not stitched through, just gently pop your fingers through. And we want to be turning this guy inside out. All right, so just very gently pop your fingers through and just pull the whole thing inside out, like so. Nice and gently. Nice and gently. All right, and then just use your fingers to pop the corners. Now, a lot of the professionals use what they call a point turner. I don't have one of those, so I just come in with the end of a little spoon and just pop those corners out a little bit to make them look nice and neat and tidy. So we just pop whatever. You can use, I don't know, the end of a pen or something, as long as, you know, as long as it doesn't go through. You don't want to push that too much so it goes through. All right, so this is what we have now. So I'm just going to bring in my little ironing surface and just give it another little bit of a press. What you want to do now is to fold these little bits in here because we're going to be sealing that up. So just make sure that's all nice and neat. Give it a bit of a press, like so. Give it a bit of a press on both sides. Lovely, like so. And I will just pop that back so it's not in the way. Right, so as you can see here, we've got a little bit of a gap that we need to just to seal up. So I'm just going to use what's left of my cotton, and again you just want to pop inside really close to the edge. You're not going to see this because it's going to be inside the pouch, all right, so you don't have to worry too much. So I'm just going to do a little bit of a excuse me, little bit of a back stitch, and then really close to the edge all the way along, just to seal that little bit of a gap. So we'll just do this. You don't have to make a line, you know, you don't have to make a mark, just as long as it's nice and neat, like so. Keep going across with smaller stitches this time. So as you can see, I am literally just bringing the needle up at the back, and then again down the hole left by the previous stitch. You'll know what I mean when you do it yourself. And if you don't really know what a back stitch is, just have a look on this wonderful YouTube. There's absolutely loads and loads of wonderful sewing channels who will teach you how to do a back stitch. I love YouTube. It's my favourite place. Ooh, plane going overhead. Okay, so we're just coming up towards the end now. Just keep going and keep going. Like I say, it doesn't have to be hugely neat because it will be inside the pouch, but if you're anything like me, I like to, have a bit of neatness, so don't worry too much about, as long as your stitch lengths are a little bit smaller, because this is going to be, like I say, inside the pouch, inside the inner lining actually. So you're just effectively closing up the lining. Righty ho, so we're nearly there. Let's have a look, how much more have we got to do? About 1 centimetre. There we are, a couple more stitches and then we'll finish off. One there, one there, and there we go. I think we'll make this the last one. That should be fine, because essentially you don't want to be losing anything in the lining, do you? It's like having a hole in a pocket. You put your key in and there you go, you've lost it. It's somewhere flapping around in your coat. All right, so just finish that off with a little knot. Just come through a little bit of the material and a little tidy knot, like so. The beauty of this is, don't forget, it is handmade. Right, so this is what we have now. So we want to be popping this inside this. So all you do is pull your 2 little tabs apart, like so, and pop the lining inside the pouch. Use your fingers to pop it in. Give everything a little bit of a scooch inside. Make sure it's all nice and in the corners. Come in with your little spoon or whatever it is you're using. And there we have a little pouch. Isn't that cute? So as you can see inside, fully lined, nice and neat, fully lined, like so. The next thing you need to do is to come in with your cord. So I'm going to suggest, I don't know, about probably 13, 14 inches, and you want 2 lengths of cord, or indeed you can use a little bit of ribbon, whatever it is that you want, as long as it's not too thick, because it's got to fit through this. There we are. Right, now I don't know if you guys have little sort of bodkin things. My husband is always losing the cord in his trousers. So if you've got one of these, it's a very handy implement to have. So all you need to do now is pop your cord through one side, like so. And if it does get stuck like that, just come in with something and open that gap up. There you go. Oops, try that again, Sammy. There we are. And pull it through, like so. Turn it over and back through the other side. So you'll find not here, but in here. Like so. There we go. Back through like so. So that that is equal there. You want to do the same thing, but we're going in the opposite direction. So pop your cord through. So we'll go in this side, over the top of the last cord, like so. Turn it over and over the top of the next cord, like so. You can buy these inexpensively on large internet sites, little sort of cord threader or whatever it's called. And then we make sure that all of this is nice and neat and the same length on either side, which those are. The last thing you need to do is to create knots in here. So literally just an overhand knot, like so. Tighten that up, like so. And then again on the other side, just tighten just an overhand knot, which is sufficient for cord, I think. Using ribbon, maybe do a surgeon's knot or something, but for cord it's fine. And there we have it, my friends. How cute is that? So we've got a fully lined, beautiful, beautiful little pouch that you can gift a gorgeous piece of jewellery in. So this one is going to be for my daughter's friend. I've made her a little Easter bracelet with little mini Easter egg charms, which is going to be one of my upcoming tutorials where we have a bit of fun with some little tiny baby Easter eggs. All right, so that will go in there. I'm ready to gift. Aren't they beautiful? I hope you have a lot of fun making these. And again, you know, if you don't like sewing, that's fine. Just skip past. If you want to have a try, I really think you should, because you've seen how easy they are to make and how beautiful they are. Look at how gorgeous they are. All right, so hope you have lots of fun with those, and I will see you in my next video. Thanks for watching, and thanks for indulging me doing something a little different today. I'll speak to you soon.